Well, Lord, honey, children, how is everybody today? Welcome to Country Bling Cooking. And honey, children, it's Wednesday, and it's another wonderful day, and I'm going to have to, Lord, I got to work on this camera over here, children, just a little bit. I swear to my goodness, I can't never get it exactly where it needs to be. I'm telling you what, it's more, honey, more exciting than a hog wearing Santa Claus suit around this house today, children. Listen. Honey, I started putting out Christmas the other day. Oh, that's much better. How are y'all out there? Listen, I'm so happy y'all are joining the Country Bling Cooking Show today. Got on one of my fall shirts. Y'all can get the fall line and my everyday line on the website at southerncountryBling.com. And the Christmas line is coming out very soon, within the next few days. So, honey, be on the lookout for that, children. Let me tell y'all. So, I've been starting putting up Christmas, honey, children. I think I got 16 trees this year, and I'm about 90% done. So once I start getting done, we're going to start doing some live and some videos of different sections and kind of showing you how I put that together and all that, and how we really get into Christmas up in here. So, but today, it's all about cooking. It's a wonderful fall day. It's about it's about 64 degrees right here, but it's fixing to get really rainy, and it's fixing to get really cold. So, I do want to give a shout out to everybody that's in the hurricane path, Hurricane Zeta that's coming. My thoughts and prayers are with each and every one of y'all. So, alright, with that being said, children, today I had asked in the last video if anybody wanted to see a certain recipe or anything like that, to please drop me a direct message. Several of you all have, and I've put them on the list. And this morning I was thinking, now what am I going to do for the Country Bling Cooking Show today? And I thought, you know what? I think I'll do some good old Southern fried taters and onions. Now, most people have never heard of these. A lot of people have. In the South, it was a big dish for us. And really, we had fried taters and onions more in the fall and winter time. Now, we had fried taters all the time, but a lot of times we grew our own onions, and we grew what was called a tater onion. Now, that's an onion you let get real big, like the kind you buy from the store. So we wouldn't get those out of the ground till late in the fall. So a lot of times we never had taters and onions fried together until fall time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is fried taters and onion. Just some good old Southern fried taters and onion. Now, if you have questions, please ask. I'll try to see them from here. Miss Lisa couldn't be with us today. She had another commitment that she had to go to, but that's all right. And if I don't get to your questions online, then I'll answer them once we're over with. So, and you need to make sure that, Lord, honey, something's done went crazy over here on this camera. Lord mercy. Let's push that. There we go. Children, so, all right, listen, me and my cameras. I'm glad you all like the new setup. Everybody said they really like it, so I'm thankful for that. All right, so let's get into talking about some taters and onions. Now, this video is live on Instagram. It will be on the YouTube channel soon, which is Country Bling Cooking. Make sure you tell everybody and go there and subscribe to Country Bling Cooking. And then it goes on to Facebook. It's filmed or taped, and then it goes on Facebook the next day. And the recipe that we're doing today, Southern Fried Taters and Onions, will be on the website tomorrow. So, all right, girls and boys, let's get to cooking us up some fried taters and onions. Now, I have here peeled, usually you want about 4 big taters, but these were about medium, so I peeled about 5 of them today. So, we just want to slice them up. Now, a lot of people, there's a big debate about fried taters and onions and how to do them. So, I'm going to show you the Southern way that I know. And you all can either use that one or a different one that you might be doing. But a lot of people wonder, is it sliced? Is it diced? What is it? Well, honey, children, it's sliced in my book. So, if we're frying regular taters, then it's diced. But if I'm frying taters and onions, it's sliced. Now, when I slice them, I'm only slicing them about a 1/4 inch thick, about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick. I don't want them super thick because I want them to cook very quick. Now, a lot of people, and we'll talk about it in a minute, they wonder, do we use oil, do we use butter, do we use bacon grease? And I'm going to show you my ratio of the grease that's going in here and what I like to use. Now, I'm a firm believer, if you've got bacon grease, honey children, then use some bacon grease. But I'm going to show you some ratios that I like to use once we get started with that part of it. And we'll get all of our taters here sliced up real fast and all that. Like I said, Miss Lisa couldn't be with us today, but if you've got a question, honey children, make sure you ask. And I'll either get to it on air or I'll get to it after we're off air, and I will answer your questions. I would like to shout out a happy birthday to everybody that's having a birthday this week. I hope you're having a great birthday. And honey children, listen, we used to, growing up, we used to have fried taters with just about every meal. But fried taters and onions, like I said, was always a nice fall treat for us. So, and winter. But we ate fried taters and onions with a meal that I call a rib sticker, honey children. We always had some soup beans and cornbread and fried taters and onions and either fried pork chops, or we'd have some bacon, just maybe some fried bacon. Honey, I was raised on the hog, honey. I was raised on the hog. We ate every bit of the hog. So, all right, now I've got my skillet, and we're going to turn this on to medium heat. Now, in here, I'm going to add, this is my ratio of fats that we're using. I like to use oil and bacon grease mixed together. Now, you could do oil and a little bit of butter, but I like the oil because it makes that surface in there, makes it really non-stick, plus it helps to brown your taters. Now, the bacon grease is all for flavor. Now, this recipe will be on SouthernCountryBling.com tomorrow, so you can get it. It's my Southern fried taters and onions. So I just got my bacon grease up in there with my oil heating up. Now, in these potatoes here, or taters as I call them, you want to add salt. And you want a good dose of salt, children, and just a little pepper. You want a good dose of salt because that's where your flavor is coming from, because taters is just like meat. They love a lot of salt. And then we're going to add cornmeal in just a second. But we want to stir that salt right up into them. Now, the reason why, I know y'all going to ask, why am I putting cornmeal up in my taters? Well, let me tell y'all a little secret I learned from my grandmother and my aunts about frying taters. I do this with regular taters too. So I love to add cornmeal, and I was raised like this. We added cornmeal to our taters that was frying because it gives you that good crunchy exterior that we're looking for on the outside of the taters. Now, back to the oil just a minute. I missed the part. If you don't want to use oil, you can use shortening or lard. Now, I use lard sometimes, and it would be lard and bacon grease. And the recipe will tell you how much, and whatever the oil says, that's what you'd use in lard or Crisco. But the cornmeal, and then you just add the cornmeal in there. You stir the salt in first, because what that does is the salt starts pulling the moisture out of the potatoes, and then it will allow for that cornmeal to stick to the outside of the taters the way we want it. Now, it's not a super lot of cornmeal. It's just enough to give it that nice crunchy texture. And I also do this with my fried chicken too. I'll add a little bit of cornmeal to the batter, or even a little bit of grits to it, and it gives you that nice crunchy texture. Well, and I'm a tossing taters, children, honey. I'm a tossing taters everywhere up in here. All right, so you can see the cornmeal right there on them. All right, now my oil is hot, and you can hear that sizzle. Now, you want it to sizzle. Now, a good technique to know when your oil is hot is to take the spoon handle of a wood spoon and hold it down in the oil. And when you see bubbles form around the spoon handle, then you know that the oil is hot. Or if it's smoking just a little bit. Now, I won't get all that cornmeal up in there, children. I don't want to miss any of that. So we'll put our dishes right over here on the counter. All right. Now, We just want to make sure that those are in as much of a single layer as possible. And then you're going to cover them up. Now this is very important, honey. When you are frying potatoes, you want to put a lid on them for the first part, because what that does is that traps the steam that the taters is giving off, and this is what makes them tender. So, Jason, grits in the fried chicken. That's genius. Yes, honey, children, let me tell you. Put some grits in this too with your cornmeal, or grits into your chicken batter, and you'll always get that perfect crunch and a little bit of nuttiness from those grits. So that's wonderful. All right, now we've got to peel our onion. Easiest way to peel an onion is to cut its head and tail off, and it will split down the side for you. And then you just take your finger, see how that splits right there? And then you just take your fingernail or a knife point, and you just get under that, honey, children. Now, a debate on the onion. Does the onion sliced? Is the onion diced? Is the onion in slices that is rings, or is it in slices that look like wedges? Which way should onion be for fried taters and onions? Well, I'm a firm believer that it should be in the slice that goes like this. And I'll show y'all once I get it sliced. So it should be in slices like this. You want slices that they'll come apart just like that. That's the kind of slices I'm looking for up in here. I think the recipe I wrote says diced. You can dice them up, but I love them sliced, just like that. So it's not the rings that we're looking for, it's the little wedges, as I call them. Oh, listen to them taters, honey. They frying up in the, oh yeah, they frying up in that skillet. Honey child, Lord mercy. We're going to eat good tonight. Alright, so you want to get all your onion sliced up, and you want to break it apart. You want to break them all apart, get all those pieces loose. And the reason why we do this is because we want those onions to go all through those taters. If you throw them in there in whole big chunks like that, sometimes they don't cook as well, and they don't get all up in them taters. Now, I've got an aunt that will fry these taters all day long, but she won't eat them. She don't necessarily like taters and onions fried together, but that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, if you don't want to add the onions to this, then just by all means leave the onions out, and you'll still have the most fabulous fried taters you've ever had in your life. Now, if you come out with a piece like that, cut him in half again. There you go. Now, it looks like I've just about got all of them out together. And if you want more onions, I do one medium onion, but if you want more onions, then go ahead and add, maybe up to another half of an onion or something like that. And the onion flavor, all that onion flavor, yes, honey child. Yes, honey. And always a trick, when you take your lid off away from you, and let that moisture on the lid drop down into your taters. Oh, looky here. Oh, see all that good brown? Oh, yes, honey. Now that's what we're looking for right there. All that good brown goodness. So you want to turn the brown up to the top and get some more down in there. So now once you turn your taters one time, we're going to add our onions. You just want to add them onions. Oh, Lord, I'm losing onions everywhere, honey. I'm going to have to turn the chicken in the house to eat up the scraps I'm throwing in the floor. Oh, Lord, that one jumped ship. Got to get back in there, don't you, honey? All right, so let's get all of our onions up in here. Now, at this point, I'm going to add just another small pinch of salt, just at the top of those onions. And that is just to pull the moisture out of those onions. Now, you want to put your lid back on there, because what did I say about keeping a lid on your fried taters? That keeps the steam in there, and that keeps the moisture in there so that your taters are getting good. Your taters are getting good and tender, but yet getting real crunchy and brown on the outside. And now that we put our onions in there, keeping this lid on there makes the onions tender too. Now, you don't want to stir your onions to the bottom when you first put them in there, because they've not started cooking yet. if you turn them to the bottom, if you fold them over when you put the onions in there, then your onions will liable burn before they start getting tender. So leave your onions on the top of the taters with the lid and let them get tender, and then we start turning the onions in. Now, if you like your taters diced, then all beans, honey children, then dice your taters. I just prefer them sliced because on a sliced tater, you will get a more of a brown crunch on that full side, that full circle of the tater. If they're little cubes, then you get just a small browning on each cube. But I love that crunch that you get from the caramelization of the juices that's coming out of the onion and that cornmeal. Children, let me tell you something. It's so good. Honey, the neighbors will be knocking down the doors just to get in to get them some fried taters and onions. So now let's check on it. Now remember, I said when you open up the lid, open away from you and let that steam that's condensed here on the lid drip right down in there. So we're getting close. Now we're getting close. Oh, that smell. You get those potatoes that's caramelized and then that onion. Oh my Lord, children. I wish you all could be here to smell it. Just a little bit more pepper at this time. If you don't want the pepper, then by all means, just leave the pepper out. What's the trick to cutting onions without crying? Well, honey, let me tell you, you know what the trick is that I found to cutting onions without crying is ask somebody else to cut it for you. That's the best way to keep from crying, I'm telling you. I always say, well, somebody peel this onion for me, or whoever's right. I say, come on in here, I need you to peel some onions. They don't realize that I just don't want to peel the onions because it make you cry. No, I'm just kidding, girl. Listen, the easiest way to peel an onion to keep you from crying is to place your onion in the freezer for about 2 to 3 minutes before you cut the onion. Now that will help you more than anything. And cut the root end of the onion off last. Because the root end of the onion, once you disturb that root end, that's where all the fumes come from. It's more toward the root end. But if you will place the onion in the freezer for just, a couple minutes and then take it out and cut it, you won't cry as bad. But honey, children, hey girl, how are you? So, honey, children, I'm telling you, the best way is to ask somebody else to do it for you. That's the best way to keep from crying when you're peeling the onion. Don't forget to get your all fall shirts, because guess what? Come Thanksgiving, like the day after Thanksgiving, a couple days after Thanksgiving, you're not going to be able to get the fall shirts anymore. This one is one of our biggest sellers this year. It's that buffalo plaid pumpkin that everybody loves, children. You've got to get you one before they're all gone. And the Christmas shirts is coming soon. Let's see. Put them in the fridge or freezer for 10 or 15 minutes before cutting it. Will chill the juice. Yes, so that is a really good tip. I do that a lot. But like I said, just ask somebody else to do it. Alright, so now it's time to turn them again. Now this time you're going to turn your onions under. And they're almost done. We really don't want those onions to brown. We just want those onions to get soft and tender. We're just wanting our taters to get brown. And they are doing a good job of it too, let me tell you. Look at that. Can y'all see this beautiful brown? Look at this. This is what you're looking for. Look how beautiful and brown that is. That is gorgeous. Brown food is flavor. Growing up, there was another dish that had onions in it that I loved. And we'd have onions. We'd have fried liver and onions. And then we'd also have taters and onions with it. And a big old pot of soup beans. Lord, honey, you talk about a tootin' good time, honey. It was a tootin' good time, let me tell you. Well, thank you, sugar. Love your shirt. Sherry West 7007. Well, thank you, Sherry. Honey, go to the website, Southern Bling. Get you one, honey. Now, listen, if you all do order shirts for now or Christmas or next year or whatever, and you would like your shirt signed by me, please indicate that on the order, and I will sign the shirts before they're shipped out to you. I do have a couple things to tell y'all are coming up. Honey, children, I just got it. It's a huge announcement. I'll announce again later, but so I can tell you all today that I am going to be on as a judge on Christmas Cookie Challenge on Food Network. And that all starts on November the 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on Food Network. And I may not be on every single episode, but I'm on several of them. So you got to watch every week to see when I'm going to peek my little snow globe in there and see what we're talking about on cookies this year for Christmas. So that is Christmas Cookie Challenge on Food Network every I think it's on a Monday night, starting November the 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Time. So you'll get to see me there for the holidays, honey children, and then we'll be right here cooking through the holidays too. I'm going to try to do these shows every Wednesday. Last week it was at 6. This week it is at 5. It'll either be at 5 or 6. And like I said last week, we're talking about all things fall and things that make you remember your childhood. Things about the holidays that's coming up. It may just be videos on tips and tricks of how to make brown sugar. What's the best sugar cookie dough to make a shaped sugar cookie that won't lose its shape in the oven. So, honey children, you just don't ever know what we're going to get into here on the Country Bling Cooking Show, honey children. So, thank y'all for tuning in today. I can't wait for y'all to see these taters and try them. The recipe will be on the website, southerncountryBling.com, tomorrow. Alright, so now we're to the point that we need our taters to turn them one more time. Look at all that brown. Oh, my children, say it ain't so. Now, y'all know you ain't going to get every single tater up in there brown. But you going to get the majority of them up in there brown. So look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. So once your taters are tender, as you can see here, I can cut them with my egg turner, and they are tender as they can be. And your onions are tender. You want to take the lid off, because now we're into the super browning part of this, is once you take the lid off. Because now the steam is escaping the skillet, and it's going up and giving you that wonderful onion tater facial. And now all of that's escaping and the lid's not holding in, so they're going to brown faster now. Now you can cook these to the brownness that you like. This is about the brownness that I like on mine right here. As you all can see, the brownness on that one is super done. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, children. This is just heaven right here. Makes me feel like a child again every time I cook fried taters and onions. So, this is just about perfect. Let's turn them one more time, and I'll get my thing out here. Does anybody have a question? Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you tell everybody that we do these every Wednesday evening, because you never know what we're going to do, and you all need to tune in to see what we're going to do. Now, I will tell you this. You need to keep an eye on my Facebook and Instagram, because it won't be long till we start our holiday giveaways. We'll have one coming up in the month of November, maybe two, but I do know in the month of December we'll have 2 giveaways, so make sure you keep on the lookout for that. Alright, so now we're going to turn our burner off, and now we're going to get the plate up in here, and I want to show you all this. If you can see, there's hardly any grease left in here. Now you need to go by the oil and the bacon grease that I give you in the recipe. If not, you're going to end up with super oily. Now there is a little bit left in here, and if you don't want that, well, I would get a paper towel, but I just got one. So if you don't want that grease, all you got to do is take your paper towel, put it into the bottom of your plate, and you just put them taters right on top of that. Oh my gosh, kids, if you all could smell this, listen, it would make, honey, I'm telling you what, the neighbors will be knocking at your door wanting some of these, because they ain't nothing better than a good old fried tater and onion, honey. I fix them with hamburger steak. I fix them, honey, we even eat them with fried bologna. Honey, we love us some good old fried bologna. Ain't nothing better than fried bologna. How many people out there have ever heard of fried bologna and bologna gravy? Bologna gravy is one of my favorites. I love me some good old bologna gravy, honey, with a big old biscuit. Actually, my favorite thing to eat bologna gravy with is a big old hunk of cornbread. I love gravy on anything, though. Honey, you could just put it on my hand and I'd eat it. I love me some gravy. These are wonderful for breakfast. These are wonderful for lunch. These are wonderful for brunch, for dinner, supper, whatever y'all want to call it. My mouth is watering. Girl, I'm telling you what, my mouth's watering so much I can't even hardly talk. Honey, I'm telling you, they just smell so good. And look at all that brown on there, honey. Now, if that ain't a good-looking bunch of fried taters and onions, I don't know what is. So let's get right into it. I have lost my fork. Let me just grab me a fork here. All right, got me a big fork up in... Big old fork, honey child. Look at that big old fork. Listen, let's get us one of these big, nice brown ones in here. And then you got to get you a big old piece of onion like that right there, honey. Look at that. Listen, I'm going to show you all the perfect bite right here. That right there is the perfect bite. Look at those super tender onions. And then that beautifully browned tater. Blow him off because it's hot. Mmm. 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 You get that crunchy exterior from those taters that has that little bit of cornmeal in there. And then you get that bacon grease that we used with the oil. You get that hint of smoke that bacon grease gives off. And then just that little bite of pepper right at the end. But that onion, honey, those onions just make those taters sing. Now, honey, if they ain't nothing that's as delicious as this, they ain't nothing out there. I'm telling you what. If you all don't give these southern fried taters and onions a try, you don't know what you're missing. Honey, they so good. They'll keep the hogs a dancing around the fence in their tutu wearing sunglasses waiting on Santa Claus. I'm telling you, they're that good. Listen, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in today to the Country Bling Cooking Show. And I'll see y'all next week, and we'll see what we're going to cook up next time. But, honey, until then, be safe, be happy, wash your hands, social distance, get you a shirt, honey, on SouthernCountryBling.com. Have a good evening, honey. Try these sweet taters. Try these fried taters and onions. The recipe will be on SouthernCountryBling.com. Now, you go be watching, and I'm going to go eat my taters. I'll see y'all later. Bye.